This is Andy Purewal for ID Boxing. I'm joined by trainer Don Charles over Zoom. Don, Christmas has just gone. We're getting ready for New Year's now, but did you have a good one?
Yes, indeed. It was a very good Christmas with the family, get together with the family. Also, it was time to rest and reflect.
Rest and reflect indeed. And on that reflection point, let's just go back to what's been a big talking point and a big fight for yourself and for your man Derek we're involved in with Tyson Fury back on December 3rd. Uh, Don, before we go into the fight, just reflect on the camp for me, trying to prepare for somebody like Tyson Fury. How did you find it? How was Derek approaching it?
Well, basically, we very familiar with each other, my camp and Tyson's camp, being as we'd already fought Tyson. Derek had fought Tyson twice in the past, and Derek in fact sustained his first boxing professional loss. Came by Tyson. He took our British and Commonwealth title off of us, and that was Derek's first professional loss in a boxing ring. And we went away, regrouped a few years later. Um, Derek won the European title. Again, along comes Tyson Fury and takes the title off of us, of Derek Chisora. So he's almost like a guy who always comes to relieve of us of what we achieve. So this third fight that just happened is the first time Tyson Fury had something that we didn't have. So it was our turn to go and attempt to take it off him, and unfortunately we came up short.
Um, Don, what was the game plan heading into the fight?
Listen, every trainer, every fight you approach, obviously you have a game plan. It's not really, uh, when I say at liberty, it's no secret. You saw the fight. I had a game plan. We had a game plan, and I can't really sit here and tell you. It wouldn't be right for me to go into telling you what the game plan was. We had a game plan. That's all I can tell you. We
What
had
would
a
you
we had a game plan. We had a game plan good enough to be able to, being as we already fought. Derek already fought Tyson twice and previously, so obviously Tyson has evolved from the first Tyson to the second Tyson to the third Tyson. I can assure you, a trainer with my experience, yeah, we were going into the unknown rather than the unknown. So we had what I believed was a perfect game plan to try and dethrone this guy. Like I said, we came up short.
He's always going to be a big ass. Tyson was a heavy favorite going into the fight, and as you mentioned, he's evolved since you've seen Derek share a ring with him twice previously. On that note, in the fight, I know you said you wouldn't feel it'd be right to share what the game plan was, but what did you want to see from Derek, or what was you maybe not best pleased with? What was you pleased with?
No, I was pleased with him. Uh, there's so many ways to answer your question. I know what you're looking for, but like I said, it wouldn't be right for me to tell you point by point what our game plan was. A lot of it was on show. For if you was watching the fight, you might start to understand. Okay, this is what they're trying to do, but they weren't able to do it. So yeah, we had what we would deem to be a perfect game plan. It was being executed in sparring. We saw what we wanted to do. We're doing it in sparring, and that's where you then have to recognize and credit the opposition in the name of Tyson Fury, because you can only do in any competitive sport, whether it's a team sport or a single sport, one on one. You can only do what your position allows you to do. You try your best to do what you want to do, and your opposition has a saying in it.
Don, can you reflect on the fight for me? Just go through the rounds. what did you feel was the turning point in the fight that maybe felt like it got away from Derek?
It was one of those fights where it was quite, from my stance as a trainer, it was very frustrating from our side because obviously we went out there to try and implement our game plan, our perfect game plan. And like I said, I have to credit Tyson Fury. We have to credit Tyson Fury for not allowing us to be able to implement our game plan. The fight, like I said, this fight, people, as soon as this fight was announced, the general consensus out there was that people were not in favor of this fight happening in the first place. Okay, so they thought it was going to bomb in the sense that nobody's going to bite, nobody's going to, the attendance won't be good. It was ridiculed, it was condemned. So, as far as the audience are concerned, from what you read online and stuff, people telling us, it's two friends having a fight. It's not going to be a real fight, you know. So, yeah, it was a very negative approach, not by us, by the audience, the boxing supporters, fans, and it's not the fight they wanted to see. So, like I said, we prepared for the fight. We went in there with what we believed was our plan to try and get a win on the night. Every round, from round one to when the fight was stopped, Derek initiated the fight for the first. It's a 3-minute round, every round. From my recollection, I've watched the fight over and over again. I saw it on the night, and my observations on the night is still the same as when I watch it back. The bell will ring, Derek will go out to center ring and try to initiate the attacks by jabbing to the chest and to the body, which was part of the game plan. And Tyson Fury, being the elite boxer that he is, fighter, unbeaten, he was able to nullify any threats that we were posing. And in boxing, if your rangefinder is not registering how it should be registering, it's highly unlikely you're going to be able to implement your second phase attack and potentially a third phase attack. So, like I said, I can sit here and try and, because no disrespect to you, you're a reporter, yeah?
Yep,
A journalist, yeah?
yep.
What is your right title?
Uh,
What's your title?
Lead reporter.
Your lead reporter, right? So you report on boxing. Uh, Apart from boxing, reporting on boxing, do you report on any other sports?
No, I've got a keen eye and a keen liking for other sports, but boxing's what I
Yeah.
want full time.
Yeah, the reason I ask, I always try and get an understanding. This is basically not personal, as in directed at you. I'm generalizing now across the board of all the reporters, journalists. Yeah, I'd like to know how many of you guys in your profession have actually competed at any sport and to what level. Then will you start to understand what I'm trying to explain to you? Okay. It could be a team sport, whereas football is 11 and 11, or it could be a singular sport like tennis, like boxing, where it's one on one. Yeah. It's the same principles where you're trying to implement what you've trained to do. And like I said, your opposition has a lot to say and do about what you do and what you cannot do. The same way you have the same ability to also try and prevent them from implementing their game plan. Yeah, that's what the public are paying to see. Okay, so in our case, on the 3rd of December at White Hart Lane, if this was a car, we couldn't get into gear 2 and potentially gear 3. Yeah, so Tyson, with his ability, was able to nullify any dangers we may be trying to set up. Okay, and unfortunately, the fight was like that. Every round replicated itself, except with the exception of the 3rd round. From my recollection, Tyson opened up on Derek Chisora in the 3rd round, it looked like the fight will be concluded in the third round in favor of Tyson Fury because he pinned us on the rope and he wouldn't stop punching. Yeah, that's the only time, from my observation, that my boy looked in trouble. Derek looked in trouble where this fight could actually end here, but it didn't because Derek did what he does. He took Tyson's best shots. A lot of shots was missed. Also, a lot landed, and at the end of that onslaught, Derek Chisora spread his arms wide and said, "Come on, then, give me some more. Let's go." Typical Derek, and that was the only time that I felt as a coach from the corner where I was standing that this fight could actually end here, and it didn't. So we survived that round, and from then onward, Derek went back on what trying to implement what he has practiced to do on fight night. Like I said, Derek would initiate the attack initially with the jab to the stomach, jab to the chest. Then Tyson would take over by tying us up, pushing us back, and then start opening up. And every round more or less replicated itself. So that's how I remember the fight. That's how I saw the fight.
Don, you said you felt that maybe only really in the third round, Derek looked like he was in danger of being stopped.
Yeah, like in fights. That's what happens in fights. It could be the other way around as well. Yeah.
On that note, Don, and obviously I'm sure you've been waiting or expecting this question rather. A lot of people have
Yep.
been
But
critical
for
as to
the
if you felt
millionth time, ask me.
a lot of people have been critical, Don, as to why maybe you didn't pull Derek out earlier
Yeah.
than when the ref stepped in to stop the fight. Don, the floor is yours. Why did you feel like you didn't need to step in at an earlier point than when the referee did to stop the bout with Tyson?
Did you watch the fight?
I did watch the fight.
You watched every round
Yep,
to the stoppage.
yep.
Right. I'm gonna reverse roles with you. I'm a reporter now. You're Don Charles. At what round would you have pulled Derek Chisora out? You're the coach now. You're in the corner.
I understand, Don, but I'm not there in I'm a knight and in that scenario. I can give you my opinion, but
Of course
um,
you can. That's why I'm asking you. Yeah.
personally, I think it could have been stopped sooner, maybe a few rounds earlier.
Yeah, but name a round, please, because you need to be precise.
I'd say
I just told you the only time I was concerned as a coach watching the fight was in the third round where I felt not that I could. It's not really the dumb thing. If he was being flawed in the third round, he took. It was when the opposition pins you on the rope. You see it many times. Sometimes, in some cases, referee would dive in and stop the fight there and then. So, like I said, the fight could have been stopped as early as that, not by myself, by the referee. You've seen it. We've seen it over the years in different fights. I'm asking you. You're the coach now. I'm just asking you. It's a general question. At what round, being as you watch the fight round per round, round by round, at what round would you have thrown the towel in or summoned the referee to stop the fight?
around maybe the eighth, ninth, maybe,
Why?
because from what I saw, I didn't really feel like Derek was winning any of the rounds, and
Right.
I didn't feel like he was going to win on obviously win on the cards, and he started to look maybe as if he was just hoping that that one shot would land.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Fair answer. Again, like you said, hoping. So when you go into such a big fight, there's a lot riding on it. Yeah. So you look at the previous history. You look at where Derek Chisora is at his what stage is at in his boxing career, and you're aware of the belt they were fighting for, right?
Yep.
What belt was it?
WBC.
Yeah. So that's the most prestigious belt in boxing. Yeah. So my guy is not being beaten like from post to post. Yes, he was taking shots. Okay. You've got to give the guy, your fighter, every opportunity to maybe, we've seen it happen over the years. Maybe release that one punch that you know he's got in his locker to connect. and it didn't happen. But it's my duty to give him every chance. Also, I know my fighter because I've been working with him for a long, long time. All his career, I've worked with Derek Chisora. We had a couple of breaks here, there, and there. But generally, I've spent a lot of time studying this guy, not just during fights, during sparring. Over the years, you get to learn about your fighter, body language, facial expressions. You get to learn when they're really hurt, and you also should also know when they're okay. So from where I was standing, yes, he was getting hit, but nothing we haven't seen before, whether it's in the gym or in a live competition. So from where I was standing, round by round, he was trying. Believe me, he was trying. We were speaking, we were communicating in the corner. Every time there's a break, that's where you get opportunity to communicate to your fighter, to get the messages through to him. We were in constant communication, and every time he went out there, we're hoping something's going to happen, and unfortunately it didn't. And I'd already made my mind up. At a certain point, I'm thinking of, right, I need to then pull him out of this fight. I have done it in the past. If you go and watch studied Derek Chisora's career, I have pulled him, I have stopped fights in the past, but I would always give my fighter every opportunity to be able to perhaps get one in to get us a victory. That's what we're there for. And also, there's a lot entails a lot in terms of, will he ever fight for that WBC title again? Highly unlikely. So this is your opportunity. Like I said, give him every opportunity to see if we can do it. Without putting him into unnecessary danger, okay, of being really hurt. Okay, like I said, I'm actually known as a compassionate coach within the industry. This compassionate coach, how comes on the night that I wasn't so compassionate? No, I know my fighter really well. I know what he can take and what he can't take. And from where I was standing, I'd already made my mind up anyway. Later on during this interview, I may reveal to you of what my plan. I've already said it in different previous interviews. I've done 2 interviews in the last couple of weeks. Later on, you're directing the interview, so I'll wait for you to ask and I will answer. But I hope I've so far making myself clear. If I'm not, please ask me. I will make myself clear.
Don, when you were watching the fight, and obviously you're in the corner working with Derek and seeing how he's getting on, was there ever any points where you felt that the fight was just getting away from him?
Most definitely, yeah,
Where it was just
most
too
definitely.
much, where it was just too much to hope that that one shot was going to land?
Not to the degree where, oh, this fight is really getting away from us, I'm going to stop the fight. It doesn't actually work like that, yeah? You watch football in the World Cup, people were scoring in the after extra time, and you know, this is a highly competitive sport, yeah, where, like I said, it only takes a second to knock somebody out. It only takes a second for your money shot to come in. So you always, in every sport, it's like that. It's no different to, except for like in boxing, yes, you're getting hurt. In football, it's a physical game. You also potentially could get hurt in football and rugby. So unless you've done, that's why I wasn't being disrespectful to yourself. You're a young man, developing your skills in what you do in your profession. You know, I'm sure a lot of you journalists, maybe one day you go into the office or you do an interview and it totally went all wrong. Are you gonna chuck the towel in and no, next day you roll your sleeves up, you get back to the office, you make calls, you get someone and you interview them. There's no difference to you and myself. That's what we do. No, the fight weren't panning out the way we planned for it, because the opposition we were fighting is a highly skilled boxing IQ fighter, unbeaten, has knocked out the last, let's say, the 3 previous opponents, 2 of them being Wilder and 1 was Dylan White. He has knocked them all out. No such thing happened to us. So you have to credit us as well, you know? Okay, so yes, we couldn't come out of first gear. Okay, that's the way the fight panned out, and like I said, I've learned to credit the opposition. That's what, exactly. I will always keep coming back to that, to credit the opposition.
Don, on reflection, if you could go back to that night, would it have ended differently on your behalf? Do you think you might have maybe looked to pull Derek out, or would it have gone exactly how it did for you?
You keep going back to pulling him out. That's because that's the general consensus. Because people, it's easy, it sounds good. Oh, you should have pulled him out. Should have pulled him out. Yeah, should have pulled him out. No, we're in a highly competitive sport. That's what we signed up for. Within reason, we're going to try everything we can to try and, like I said, land that money shot. We believed we've got it in the locker and we were looking for it. And it didn't come in for us. And yeah, there's not pulling out. I'd made my mind up when, at what point I was going to, because the referee had spoken to us. I believe it was in round 9, the beginning of round 9. The referee came to our corner. He said, "Look, Don, Derek," he said, "you need to give me something here, or else I'm going to have to make a decision." I said, "Fair enough, referee. We're of the same thinking, right?" So at that point, that's when one started to consider, if we don't do something here, then I'm going to have to pull my guy out. Yes, that thought that was on my mind. And if I will tell you now, yeah, the plan, and Derek survived the 9th round. Again, it was, when I say survive, it was the same pattern as the previous round. And then going out into round 10, I read the riot act to Derek, said, "Look, you really got to give me something here, or else I'm going to have to make a decision." Yeah. And my decision would have been to, yes, stop the fight at the end of the 10th round if he comes back to the corner. But the referee, having already spoken to us in the round 9, he felt Derek took a shot, no bigger shot than had taken previous rounds. He saw that as an opportunity to say, right, enough now. He has seen enough. So he intervened and stopped it in round 10, which was also coincidentally the round I was considering to not allow my guy to go back out.
Don, we all know just how tough Derek is, and he's been in some incredibly entertaining fights and given a lot to the sport when he steps between the ropes. One thing people have wondered after the fight and well, before the fight and in other fights as well, has he ever spoken to, whether it been you or a different trainer, but in your cases, you might have had this conversation with him. Has he ever said, no matter what's happening in the fight, if my back's against the wall, do not throw the towel in, do not pull me out, leave it to the fight itself, or if the referee was to? Does he ever tell you, do not pull me out no matter?
We no, it's not addressed in that way. Such conversation has happened in the past all through the time I've been training, but it's not verbalized as you put it there. It's not said like that. It's all the different discussions you would have over the years, which will lead you to draw your conclusion of what he means, or what the fighter means.
How would a conversation like that go, Don?
No, it's like I said again. I can't start going into details. Some things are not spoken. You know that is, you call it trade secrets. Please allow me to retain that. Some things are not spoken exactly how it's supposed to, because that's what we do behind closed doors.
Not obviously everybody looking towards the future now. Then with Derek, a lot of people have commented saying that they hope that he will now hang them up. He's obviously made a great deal of money from the sport, and rightly so. He's given a lot to it. You've had a great deal of success together as a team. Do you think we see Derek Chisora step back between the ropes? He's made it clear that he wants to, but yeah.
Yeah, he said, like you said, he's made it clear. So who am I to say to him otherwise? I can only advise my fighter. And again, everybody has a desire, everybody has a plan of what they want to do. Yeah. People, yes, I'm grateful. We are grateful that people are worried and concerned for Derek's well-being. Totally understand that, right? But there's also almost an added thing that it's almost like you want to see this guy retire. Derek will retire when Derek is ready to retire. And I don't believe that time is now.
What will be next for him then, Don? When you look at what fights could be out there, what level, who would you like to see him maybe share a ring with?
I'm not a promoter, number one. Number two, it's too premature because we haven't been this far happened during early December, then leading up a few weeks later, where in December we just had Christmas. Everybody's when things get back to some kind of normality, then should we go and sit down and discuss boxing? There's more things than to life than boxing. You know, we do have another life. The fighter has a life, have a life. Like I said, coincidentally happens to be Christmas, and what we've done in the last few weeks is spent some time with our families. Which, when you're in camp, you don't connect with your family. You sacrifice a lot to do what we do. It's our chosen profession, so there's no we love doing it. There's no complaints. I'm just saying we've been away from our loved ones, so it's time to get together with our families. And we're no different. I'm no different to you. I'm sure that's what you did during December. Get together with your family, and your work becomes redundant for that period, and then you pick it up again. And when Derek's back, I've spoken to him many, many times. I assure everybody, the people who are worried for Derek, and he's very, very well. We sustained a cut, which is fine. The bruises and aches and pains have all subsided and gone because, like I said, it's our time to rest. And when Derek, we're bound to meet up soon to reflect on the fight collectively, and then discuss. Then will I be able to answer the question you just asked me? I'm not at liberty and don't have any answers for you for what you're asking me. Who should he fight? It's too premature, it's too premature.
Don, one final question on the fight then I want to get your thoughts on is, as you mentioned, going into it, some people felt that maybe he was, and he was kind of looked at as a friend giving another friend a payday. That was what was billed, what people spoke about. Did you ever feel like in the fight that maybe Tyson never put his own foot on the gas? You mentioned that third round when he pinned Derek back. We never really saw him look to do that consistently throughout the latter rounds. We know he has the ability to be able to do that as well. Did you ever think that maybe Tyson was not looking to hurt Derek, not looking to put that outstanding finish on Derek because of their relationship?
So that's what you'd like to hear, isn't it? That yeah, they're friends, and that's why. No, the fight I was watching there, that's not. And I've got friends, and you've got friends. My friends. That was a very, whether the audience like it or not, it was a very competitive fight. Okay, I didn't see anyone holding back. I didn't see no Tyson holding back. Okay, and again, that's what the general public, they're billing it. Oh, this is two friends. Yes, they're friends. They're allowed to be friends, but that was a real fight. That was a real fight. Tyson was trying to take him out, and there comes to a point you try to take him out, then you don't take the opposition out. You go back to your corner. A sensible coach will say to you, which I'm sure that's probably what was said in the corner. Stop trying to take him out boxing. Then the knockout will come. I should imagine that's what the result, because he's a heavyweight. Heavyweight has only got so many punches in them in any attack. So he offloaded quite premature, in my opinion, Tyson Fury. When they didn't get success in the third round, the trainer would have, I haven't heard the corner talk, would have said, stop loading up, box him, and get your stoppage later on. So it's not Tyson Fury just that I'm going to carry Derek Chisora. Supposing you're carrying Derek Chisora and Derek Chisora puts one on your chin and knocks you out. Yeah? Because there was no formal agreement that we're going to be friends. We're going to, no, that was a real fight. That's as real as it gets. Okay? So it's easy for people to say, because they've never, all these people saying that, they've never taken a punch in their life. They've never even been nowhere near a boxing ring. Yet again, you guys, no disrespect to you, Andi, all you guys, I'm actually going to do a thing where I'm going to insist. It's a friendly thing that every journalist that calls himself a journalist should come into a boxing gym, first and foremost, to actually watch a bit of sparring. Then to the degree where we need to put you guys through sessions, not to beat you up or put punches in, but to actually hit the bags or hit the pads. Yeah, then will you start to understand what you're actually writing about? Because I like to, if I'm trying to do your job now, I don't believe I'll be able to do it because you've been trained to do what you do. We've also trained to do what we do. Yeah. So if the roles was reversed, then will you start to understand what it entails to fight or to be a coach? Yeah. So I will always question the journalist's opinion. Why? Because 98% of journalists have never set foot into a boxing ring, but yet again, you're reporting on it.
Don, final one before I let you go in it all. How have you, I'm sure you've faced adversity throughout your career and your life in general. Any critics who have had anything to say about you, any criticisms thrown towards you, how have you felt about that on a personal note?
That's what drives me. That's like rocket fuel. Yeah, that thing empowers me because there's a lot of people on this planet. The planet works with energy, positive, negative, and they both need to coexist. Yeah. So the negative, there will always be negative people trying to suppress the positivity, but it's not going to work. Yeah. They both need to exist at the same time. So hence why there's room for, like I said, the critic. The critic will always be the critic because that's what they do for a living. That's how their outlet. Maybe not, they're not happy with their personal life. So the only way they can get any kind of joy in life is to suppress and condemn positive, try and condemn positive. The positive will always win eventually. So like you asked me a question, the people who I don't mind, I think it's quite laughable because I'm enjoying my life. I'm enjoying doing what I believe I didn't realize in the beginning, but it's more apparent to me in the past years that this is what I was on this planet to do, and I'm good at it. So I said to the critic, "Bring it on." And the more you criticize me, sometimes it's warranted, most times it's not. I'm not saying, oh, I don't deserve to be. No, criticize me, ask me questions. But I love what I do. I love the journey that we're on, and God permitting, giving me energy and health, good health, to carry on to doing, continue to produce, try and produce what the fighters that I'm producing, I'm working with.
Okay, Don, listen, I appreciate you doing this interview now, and he's getting on a bit. We've spent the best part of half an hour talking, so I'm sure you've got other things to do because you've only just got into your gym as well. So I appreciate it.
Correct.
So thank you for speaking to me, and I'll speak to you again soon. And Happy New Year.
And to yourself, young man, and God bless you and your family.